Alright, welcome to Box News. This week's featured game is Epic Mickey for the Nintendo Wii. I'm here with pro gamer Andrea Lana, and she's going to tell us all about the game. First up, what kind of game is it?
I don't know that. I don't know the answers to those. It's a game where you play like Mickey Mouse and you run around and do stuff.
Is it what type of game is it similar to?
I don't know. It's got a mix of a whole bunch of stuff. There's a little bit of a side scroller in it. There's some RPG elements. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about all that stuff. That's your job.
My job. The thing that I thought it was most like was like Super Mario 64 style, where it's a open world 3D gaming role-playing game style. Like it's a throwback basically to that era of gaming, but on a slightly better graphically level. And that's just what I got from the game. What drew you to the game? Like what really?
Well, obviously, I mean, it's Mickey Mouse. Like, I just wanted to play it just to see like what Disney was gonna do with it. Just because they have a tendency a lot of times to be so childish in the stuff they put out, but this looked like something that would be interesting to an adult, you know.
So it's different than their previous releases for Mickey Mouse.
Right, because I mean, it's all kids stuff, you know, or it's stuff that's similar to shovelware or whatever, where it's garbage, but this game actually seemed like it was something that was going to be substantial and fun to play, so.
Yeah, because Mickey's had basically a lot of failures in gaming. It's not been a very solid gaming franchise for Disney. The only big franchise that they had was Kingdom Hearts, so this is their new step at reinventing Mickey to, like you said, adult gamers, somebody that's going to enjoy the experience, and kids as well would enjoy the experience. It's an all-ages game.
Well, it's a little scary for younger kids. Like, I wouldn't let anyone younger than, like, I don't know, 10 play it. There's some scary parts. Like, there's some, I mean, obviously I wasn't scared, but there are parts that would scare a young child. So,
let's run through
preteens and up, maybe.
Yeah. Let's run through quick. You finish the game. Let's run through basically the story and then what you do in the game. Like, what is your goal? And then explain the controls.
Well, basically, you're Mickey Mouse. You stumble upon this world that was created by the sorcerer. Everyone knows the whole sorcerer thing where Mickey puts his hat on and makes a mess and whatever. Well, this is kind of a play on that. The sorcerer creates this world using this magic paintbrush. Mickey goes in, screws around with it, spills some paint thinner on the world, and then gets caught and runs back to bed. Well, I mean, and then they go through this whole thing, and later this big blot of the paint thinner pulls Mickey back into the world, and his whole goal is to get out. But in doing so, he meets all these forgotten characters. He meets Oswald, the big character is Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, which was actually Walt Disney's first character, but the company he worked for took all the rights, so then he created Mickey and created Disney around that. But anyway, you go through, you can make choices to either be good or evil based on whether you use paint or you use thinner in the worlds. And you go through missions. I mean, you have to go into Ventureland, which is like Adventureland in Walt Disney World with all the pirates, and I mean, it splits it up into the way that Walt Disney World itself is split out. And you go and do all these missions, and in the end, trying to get back home. But in the meantime, you help all the characters that have been, their home has been ruined by the spilling of the thinner, which Mickey did in the beginning. So, it's fun. I mean, you can paint things and make them look pretty, or you can thin things and, make them look ugly, like they have been looking, or whatever.
Now, throughout the game, there's also mini-games littered throughout it. Basically, what I had seen from it was just 2D side-scrolling games. Were there any other types of games?
You mean like mini games or?
Not mini. I guess the worlds that you enter, the films.
No, all those are the same. It's all a side scroller. It's all 2D side scroller. Or whatever,
now those are relevant to all the past films in the franchise history.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like the very first one you do is Steamboat Willie, which is obviously Mickey Mouse's first film, but you do a whole bunch of them. Like you go into the one with all the ghosts. I can't remember what the name of that one is, but you go through a bunch of Walt Disney's old films that use Mickey and the older characters. Most of them are from the black and white era. There's not a lot of...
Now, how does that tie into the game? Like, what's the point of that?
Well, it helps you get from world to world. So every time you have to transfer from one world to the next, or one town to the next, you travel using the film strips. Come here, Boo. Come here. But, like, when you travel into Ventureland, which is the pirate level, the film strip is from something similar to that, because all the worlds in Disney are similar to all of the old films. You go into the Lonesome Bog, which is where all the ghosts are, and you go through that film strip where it's going through like the Haunted Mansion and stuff like that. So they tie in, like the film strips you go through to get to the different worlds tie into the specific worlds you're going to. But it's just like a little 2D stroller. I mean, it's like 30 seconds and you can get through it. It's really easy.
Okay.
It's an excuse to give you free like heart levels and the money that you can use to spend in the stores to get more stuff.
That makes sense. Basically, what's the replay value of this game then?
I'd play it again, just because I know there was stuff I missed, and I'd like to see how the story is different when you play evil. Because of course,
there's two different outcomes you play.
Yeah, and it's not. I mean, it's not just the general outcome of the game. Every little thing you interact with has a different way of. Like in the beginning, before I really knew what was going on, I just used thinner to spray something, and it fell on top of somebody, and I couldn't get something later. There's something in that world, I think it was Donald Duck's boat, that he had like a boat. I couldn't get it because I dropped this safe on this guy's head because I didn't know what I was doing. So like there's little things like that. Yeah, there's little things that you can miss or little things that you can get based on choosing good or evil and choosing to paint this or thin that or whatever. So I'd like to play it again. I mean, if we owned it, I'd play it again.
Anything you want to add about the game? Any reason why you recommend it to someone else?
Well, if you are going to play it, make sure you play well into it before you make a decision, because in the beginning it's a little monotonous. As you're getting into the story, like it's just basically showing you what you can do with the paintbrush and what your abilities are, and it tends to get a little monotonous. You go through, you paint this, you hop to stuff, like you don't really get into the story until you get into a certain part of the world. So if you're gonna play it, make sure you at least get into Oztown, because after that the story really starts to pick up. But before that, like I said, it's showing you what you can do, and it gets kind of monotonous, and you're like, oh, is this the whole game? But it's not. Once you get past that, it's much better.
Not bad.
Yeah.
If you had to grade the game 1 to 10, what would you give it?
Probably 9.
A 9 out of 10, almost a perfect score. Once again, want to thank Andrea Lana for coming and checking us out. Pro Gamer right here. Add her on Xbox Live and PlayStation Network when that gets back up again. Who knows on that?
Yeah. No mag.
Yeah, no mag, no Call of Duty, nothing if you have PlayStation. Sorry about that. But thanks for joining us this week. The game of the week, once again, is Epic Mickey, exclusive for the Nintendo Wii. They're in talks about branching it out on HD to the Xbox and the PlayStation 3. So we'll see. Obviously, keep you updated with the latest news on that if you're concerned or curious. Keep watching our stuff, subscribe, and any last thoughts?
No. Subscribe.
Please subscribe. Thank you for watching Box News.
Here goes the cottage. Here comes the cottage. Happy Easter on its way. Here comes the cottage. Happy Easter on its way. Hippity happy Easter's on its way.